From wildly successful business person to now hosting a show about marijuana, you won't want to miss today's guest.
Hey guys, welcome to More Than Home podcast. Today we're super excited because we have the very successful entrepreneur. He's an author, he's a mentor, advisor, he speaks in public, and he is the host of another podcast show called The Budding Report. Welcome Charles Horton to the show.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Very excited that you're here.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
I wanted to have you on for so long because I feel like this is such a fun topic and you're so interesting. Let's start with you.
Thank you.
And kind of like what you've done and in your life and kind of just who you are. What's your resume?
Sure. So I've been a serial entrepreneur. I started off coming up to Dallas in a $500 Chevy Chevette with everything that I owned in it, renting an apartment. I'm just moving right now, but I remember carrying a washer and dryer at 18 up 2 flights of stairs into my apartment complex. Yep. I can't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. But from there, I started a check verification guarantee company, grew that to the 8th largest in the country, sold out, becoming a millionaire, hitting a goal that I set by being a millionaire by 30. And then I got depressed and found myself at a Tony Robbins seminar and realized I had to have a purpose and goals. I started another company, started a chain of payday loan, title loan stores, grew that to 80 locations over about 2 decades.
Wow.
Sold that out last February. In the meantime, I've been doing something called the boardroom. So we put together a group of angel investors, and up before COVID, we looked at investments to do every month or so, and we did it in an educational format. We didn't want to be like the Shark Tank, which I find mostly entertaining, and it's really not very educational. So we did it in front of an audience, and our goal was to be educational for the people in the audience. Had a successful run doing that for about 10 years. About 2 years ago or so, I had somebody come to me and want me to invest in a marijuana grow in Arizona. I looked into it, got me interested in the space, and I started Budding Capital to invest into both hemp and marijuana where it's legal, and again, been doing that for some 10 years. I started the Budding Report to draw attention to the investment opportunities and to the industry because there wasn't really a good show about it.
Right.
Totally
agree.
I think that's one of the things that's interesting about marijuana is that it has this stigma to it that it's, for potheads and all of that, to where it's like, you don't think that there's a lot of great minds behind what's kind of changing in the country right now. And the companies that you've started just kind of go to show that, no, there's some wildly successful people that are going to be behind this movement as things kind of continue. But so you said that you've started the Budding Report. What's y'all's focus on that show?
So I have a medical doctor that uses CBD in getting people off of other hardcore narcotics and all. Instead of using methadone, he uses CBD successfully, and that goes along in my core beliefs. I've lost so many friends to opioid addiction, and using CBD to get people off of it seems to be very successful and a lot more friendly to your body than using harder core drugs. So that's what's really driving me. I also have an attorney that's on the show, so we cover, we have the medical end with a professional covering it. We have the legal end with a professional covering it, but we have a little bit of everything on. We have businesses that are in the space. We talk about the latest news that's going on. We've had several chefs, which I find to be a lot of fun to talk about putting it into the foods, but CBD especially, and THC has a lot of medicinal purposes, and I look forward to it becoming legal nationally. It's kind of a really interesting time to be in the space, to watching it all unfold, and I'm hopeful with the current administration that will happen.
Yeah.
I want to talk about all that, but will you kind of just define the difference between CBD and THC and just the different levels? Just for
Sure. You have as many as 140 some odd cannabinoids. So that's a property that's within the cannabis plant. So THC is the cannabinoid that has the high effect. There's 140 others that have different effects on your body. So CBD is one of those cannabinoids. And CBD is, a lot of people believe that it reduces their stress. It does for me. It reduces inflammation and, a lot of good medical purposes out of it. Israel's been is a lot further along than we are in investigating the different cannabinoids.
Israel, the country?
Israel, the country. So they've come up with different compounds of the plant that solve a little bit of everything. Yeah. So, for example, they came up with a formula that helped somebody that had autism that got really angry and really mean, and they took that same plant in the same soil and would use it over and over and have really good results doing that. However, they changed the soil. The same plant, the same seeds, and they changed the soil, and then it made him even more aggressive. So there's a lot to it, and I think if you're like, for instance, some people believe that CBD or THC or some of the cannabinoids will kill cancer, and I believe that that's probably the case in the right compound. If they find the right structure, that it may well be. But just walking in, just getting a random plant off the street and say I'm taking this to kill cancer is probably like walking into a pharmacy and just picking a random pill bottle thinking that it's going to do whatever they want to do. But it seems like most of the strains of cannabis will handle stress release, have calming effects, and certainly help with inflammation. But to go from there, you probably need a bit more studying to go along. But a lot of people claim miraculous effects from taking the drug.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the new administration. How are you guys seeing that playing into as far as legalization in Texas, or is that on the horizon? What are we looking at there?
So I'm a libertarian by my beliefs go along with libertarians, and so I'm questioning of everybody. But we were under the belief that the Trump administration, if it was their bill, everybody wants it to be theirs. They don't want to help the other side, that they would have passed marijuana legalization. The Biden administration has said the same thing, and most of the people on my show are hardcore Democrats, and they are very hopeful about what the Biden administration is going to do. However, it's in the news just now that the Biden administration has fired a bunch of staffers for having done it like 5 years ago is what I'm getting.
Mixed message.
To me, that's troubling. And, I find that politicians, no matter which side they are, like to make a whole lot of promises and not deliver. I am hopeful that the Biden administration is going to deliver. But one of my colleagues says that our vice president has admitted on the radio that she did it years ago. And again, I'm all for it, but if you're firing people in your administration, isn't she one to go?
Right. So how is Texas different than other states when it comes to like?
Texas is pretty tough, and according to my attorney, who again is a staunch Democrat, it all kind of comes down to our Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who I think that was his name, who is totally against it, and he has a lot of power in the different governmental bodies against legalizing it. He does not want to legalize it. He apparently is the enemy. I continue to be hopeful. There are bills circulating right now, but he can just not put it on the calendar and not hear it. On the other hand, New Mexico, for example, their legislative session closed on the 20th, and the governor is calling them back in to legalize recreational marijuana. So that's good news, and that's exciting. And I'm hoping Texas is following. The thing about Texas right now is a lot of the jurisdictions around have basically taken a decriminalization view. So if you're in possession in Dallas, I believe, of under a certain amount, and Houston as well, under an ounce or so, that you're going to get a ticket for it. They're not going to arrest you. It's a misdemeanor charge if they do that. But other jurisdictions aren't doing the same. My attorney has talked about a case of a lady in a rural central Texas town that was carrying gummies back from Colorado, and she's doing a 50-year sentence sentence for it. So
That's crazy.
you don't really know what you're going to get, and it's a plant. How can an older lady be doing 50 years in prison for buying legally gummy bears in Colorado, come home, and now she's in prison potentially for the rest of her life? But one thing I've learned for sure is no matter where you are, flour is one thing having, but if you have anything else, if you cooked it into brownies, if you cooked it into gummies, they take the weight of the entire product, and it could be a lot more serious for you. So we need some changes in the Texas law, and changing it on the federal level certainly would go a long way.
Yeah, for sure. So when you say flour, I'm not familiar with kind of how it all gets broken down. What exactly does that mean?
Like cooking flour?
No. So if you're a marijuana smoker, you generally will get these buds of the flour. They call it the flour. You grind it up, and then you can put it in a water pipe, or you can put it in a cigarette.
Right.
And so it's the actual stuff that you're smoking.
Okay.
And then if you cook that into to like oil or butter, and you make brownies or anything else with it, which is pretty commonly done, then you're talking a whole different level of issue.
Really?
The other thing they have in Texas is under the Farm Bill a couple of years ago, the U.S. did legalize hemp. So if it has less than 0.03% THC, then you're okay to have hemp all over the country. And so that poses a problem for law enforcement now. So they don't know whether the flour is the right amount of THC or not. It's expensive to test, and they can't really test everyone that comes up. So that,
and it looks the same?
And it looks exactly the same. It smells the same, tastes the same.
In any form.
In any form. It's just, the plant has as many as 144 cannabinoids. THC is one of the cannabinoids. They call that psychoactive, and that's the bad guy.
THC is
I got a hemp necklace in the Bahamas one time, and I thought I was doing something illegal. I was like 12 years old. I was like, am I allowed to bring this back to the United States? This is hemp?
But at least it looked good.
It looked
for
amazing.
Those years they wore.
Puka shells and some hemp.
And that was the thing. You could buy hemp t-shirts. You could buy hemp paper. There's all these wonderful products that can be used out of hemp. But up until the Farm Bill passed, it was illegal.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It totally is crazy.
Yeah. So what are you seeing? You said you started an investment company, kind of surrounding the industry as well. What are you seeing as far as opportunities that are for, other potential investors into the industry?
So as it becomes legalized in the United States, there's going to be all sorts of opportunities. The first deal that I looked at was a 100-acre hemp grow. Marijuana grow. And no, I'm sorry, it was hemp grow, actually. It was a hemp grow because here's the problem with growing right now. You can grow with all the intention in the world of this seed producing a legal hemp related product with the legal limits of the of THC in it. But plants aren't exactly exact. Stressors can change the compound of the plant. So if it's too dry or too hot or too cold, you could all of a sudden have a crop that they call hot, and it's now illegal. And so you may have a license to grow hemp, and you grow hemp and it's not hemp. You could be a criminal, and you could literally be charged for growing an illegal drug in certain states. So that's another thing that really needs to be worked out. I think that there needs to be, certain seeds that are approved, and if you use an approved seed and it comes out illegal, you're not going to go to prison for it, and you should be able to do what they call remediation. So remediation is where if there's too much THC in the plant, then you break it down, you take the THC out to put it into a legal quantity, and now they can sell the oil legally instead of just losing their entire crop. For me in investing, there was just too much risk in investing in a grow. But there's a lot of great opportunities. I have friends that use hemp in power bars and many other ways to consume and get the CBD other than just taking tinctures. So that's an interesting way to go. What I jumped on at first was the processing plants. As the hemp farm bill passed, there was a whole lot of demand. A lot of people went in and grew, and there was a lot of supply, and they didn't have enough processing plants to process it all. Yeah. So I went in and would go to an existing plant that had orders already, and I would partner with them and help buy more equipment, and then I would get a percentage of the profits. So that was kind of a win-win situation. And as an entrepreneur, that's what we do: is we look for something that's needed, and we try to fill that need.
Yeah. So as far as the land is concerned, is it like people who own land leasing their rights to growers?
They can do that, or the growers buy their own land. A buddy of mine that I had on last week is up in Oklahoma, which is one of the newer states to allow medical marijuana, and he's growing in basically box cars. So he's gotten prefabricated buildings, puts in the lights and everything in the buildings, and then he grows in there, and then they just do more and more. So I'm not a grower, but for what I understand, you can get a lot better quality plant with higher THC levels if you're growing it in a controlled environment. If you're growing it outdoors, one thing that can happen, the pollination can happen, I've heard, as many as 20 miles away. So if you're growing outdoors and somebody with a different strain is, a mile down the street or 10 miles down the street or maybe even 20 miles down the street, that strain can pollinate with your strain. So let's say you are growing legally marijuana, you think it's going to have a 20% THC factor, which makes it very sellable and viable. And then all of a sudden it crossbreeds with another strain, and now you have 2% THC. And, it's kind of worthless unless you're going to break it down to CBD and sell it that way.
Yeah.
So outdoors is easier, and the country has a lot of different states that allow outdoor growing that's very favorable, but you run that risk that what you think you're growing isn't going to be what you get because of cross-pollination.
There's such a science to it.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
And that's risky as an investor, because I'm investing in this, but I get that, and
there's no way to.
You can lose your whole crop in this environment.
Who's doing this? Like, what do you go to school for, and then end up being the scientist behind these calculations? Like, who?
Crazy horticulturalist.
So most of the growers that I have met and talked to say out loud that they've been doing this for 20 years.
Wow.
Well, we all know it hadn't been legal for 20 years, and they're kind of bragging that they have done it all of these years and not been legal. Like I'm never going to admit on a show that I smoke marijuana in Texas. That's right. That might be for Colorado or.
I like it.
That's good. I'm with you.
So talk to me a little bit about what you have going on, because we were talking before the show, and you guys are doing some super, super cool stuff in Marshall, Texas. Yes,
sir.
Y'all are building a retreat.
Yes, sir.
Now, I know. So real quick backstory: we met you at one of your boardroom meetings, which was so cool.
Yeah,
it did have like a Shark Tank vibe, but only in the sense that people were presenting businesses to investors, and investors could say yay or nay.
Yep.
But tell us a little bit more about what you guys have going on at the new place, because sounds really exciting.
Yeah.
So I've been very successful in life. I've had 2 big successful businesses with sales, and I've had a lot of failures. That's part of entrepreneurship. Is I get one thing going and I go and start something else, and most of my secondary things honestly have failed, but I had the money to do it. So right now I'm looking more to give back in life, and I'm creating more of a retirement environment for myself. So I bought 55 acres in Marshall, Texas. I'm doing a retreat center. One of my doctor friends, again, like I was saying, is successfully treating people with opioid addictions with CBD. I'm looking to partner with people with those beliefs. We're also going to take in kids so they don't have to live in a group home or something. They can come live with us, taking in military PTSD people. Those are just 3 examples of the many. We take these into our programs. We have licensed counselors and professionals to help them overcome their addictions, and in time, then maybe they want to learn a new job skill. So what we're we're doing then is we have a full retreat center going. We'll do corporate retreats, weddings. We're going to do big raves. I'm going to have a 8,000 square foot club that could seat 1,000 people indoors with with like gun range style. With gun range style
quite
sound.
the rave. Or is that for the weddings?
That could be for the weddings. There's an outdoor stage that we could put as many as 10,000 people on 3 acres to watch an outdoor concert. We're going to have a kitchen that can feed 1,000 people, a top-notch spa with sauna, steam room, cold plunge, very nice gym, massage, doing Watsu. And then we're a massage school. I have a friend that I'm partnering with that's going to be teaching app development. And so the people in the programs that want to learn app development can do that for free. And then what he does is that's his job, is he gets deals and then gets them built. So he would manage the project. We would have all the computers and equipment and workspace out there for the people that want to learn that and do that, and then they can make money doing that. Or if they want to work in the kitchen, they can work in the kitchen. We're going to do like mudding tracks for ATVs. It's gonna be a fun place, and most of the staff will live on site, but we're kind of creating a community as well. So many of my friends are selling, and they're selling their houses now and plan to live out there. And just the concept is minimal personal space, which if you saw my last house was very very different than where I'm going. But I will have a minimal personal space, but public space that just it's wild, all the things that we'll have out there and all the activities that you can do. So we've started that. The building is starting. The RV park portion of it is going. Hope to have the first building, which is the RV building, open in 6 to 9 months. It's been raining out there a lot since the day before Thanksgiving was the last day they worked on our park. But even though it's still raining, they're getting back to work on it. But it's a fun and exciting project. I've gone from 12,500 square feet under roof on 6.5 acres to a little travel trailer that I don't know how many square feet it is, but it's probably like 200 or 300 square feet. And I'm happy and excited because of all the people that we're going to help and all the opportunities that we're going to create.
That's so cool, stuff. Charles. Love that.
I do too. See, I told you he was completely fascinating.
Right? That's I think that covers the full gamut of the definition of an interesting man. So.
Yeah, entrepreneur.
Well,
I'm like, I don't know what else to call you. It's like the broadest term.
Business, helping people. So, that's always good. So let me ask you this. As realtors, when people find out that we're realtors, they always want to know, how's the market?
Yep.
So for you, as either, however you want to answer it, as like a, soon to be billionaire or, philanthropist or entrepreneur or talking weed, when people find out any one of those things about you, what's their question to you?
What's their question to me is generally how I did it. What's the secret to success? One of the common themes I've used all of my life, which is cliche essentially, and that is under promise and over deliver. And that's what I've tried to do all my life. I've had a lot of businesses that some people think are negative, like doing a payday loan, title loan business. Some people think that that's a negative business, but people don't have any choice. And when you do it for a short term, it's their only option. Banks aren't going to help them. And I feel like, we did a really good business and a good service. Having said that, we've always taken the position with customers that if you're not happy, you don't pay. So, if you come back 3 days later and said, I had no idea that this is what it costs, we'll take the money back and not charge you any fees for it. I hired a moving company recently, and my God, they just did the exact opposite. They under promised and over promised and under delivered. They didn't do anywhere near what they said they were going to do. And people talk, and you just can't stay in business long when you don't take care of your customers. And so that's my big belief, is you take care of your customers no matter what business that you're in.
Yes, totally agree. Yeah, got to make it right if something gets messed up too.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
Part of taking care of it.
Yeah, that's definitely our business is it's customer service, well, and marketing. But yeah, it's basically what we do. So
the Dallas home market seems to be absolutely wild. I saw somebody saying the other day, you need to be prepared to offer $30,000 over the asking price, and you better have already sold your other house because they're not
better be able to pay the difference.
They're not going to wait for you to sell. They're not taking
contingencies right now. Yeah.
So
I mean, hours on the market is what we're seeing.
It sounds like a great time for sellers. It sounds like a great time for real estate agents, but for buyers that don't have cash, it might be a difficult time.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually read this morning, it was really interesting, that there are more realtors in the U.S. right now than there are homes for sale.
I read that too.
Really?
Yeah. So,
one realtor
some of you
per
guys
home,
need to get a different job. Just saying. But,
well, I would say that's the definition of my friends that have gone and become a realtor is they go take the classes and then they really never do anything and they never sell anything or buy anything. Yeah. But they really want to get listings. That's that's the easy part of it is get a listing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something like the top 1% of realtors sell like 99%.
Yeah, oh, it's crazy.
Wow, so it's not the 80-20 rule.
It's the same rule, but
like
it's way
99-1.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to quit everything I'm doing and becoming a realtor.
You know what? You're doing great. You just keep doing what you're doing, and we'll handle the real estate.
I like your path. You do what you need.
Another point from what you said, I made a goal reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill when I was like 18, 19 years old. I set a goal of being a millionaire by 30, which I got within months. And then I set a goal of being a billionaire by 50. So over time, it didn't become quite as important. And, now I'm creating a nonprofit and I'm not even taking a salary. So getting to the billionaire goal probably isn't going to happen, but I've been successful in life and just other things are more important. It's time to give back.
That's really cool. We appreciate that. Well,
I
thank you so much for coming on.
It's been a pleasure being on.
How can the people find you?
So my email address is really easy, charles@charleshorton.com. You can look us up, just Google the Budding Report if you want to hear what's going on with marijuana and hemp and legislation and all of that. And my personal website is charleshorton.com.
Awesome.
Pretty easy.
I like it. Well, thank y'all. Appreciate you joining us today on More Than Home. As always, please like, subscribe, share, and follow us on social media. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Guys.